It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Sunday morning, and it's time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes. Your weekly automotive experience. I'm Nick Miles, and you're listening to Portland's automotive radio show, Test Miles. Locally created, nationally celebrated. We have assembled a team of freaks at the station to enlighten you with witty banter and useful information, and of course, fun automotive topics. And our team is in the studio this morning. Oli, the Viking Volvo seller. Good morning. You brought in the last and final child who hasn't visited the show.
That's right. Wyatt's here today.
Hi,
He's
Wyatt.
5.
Yeah, Wyatt's right. Did you hear that? Was that woo?
Yeah, you say there's a little noise and a wave. That's a wave for everybody who couldn't see that.
He's a waver, not much of a talker, right?
No. Everybody gets really shy in front of the microphones. I don't know what their deal is.
Sean Walker is here. He is our car and cat lover. You went to the Honda CR-V launch this week.
I did.
How was it?
It's okay. Can't talk really about it for another week, but it's still...
No driving impressions?
No driving impressions, but...
They're embargoed?
Yes.
So how was it to drive?
They came out with some good safety features on it, and some I wanted to test out, and they wouldn't let me there, so it sucked.
Well, I think we're going to have them on in a couple of weeks, too, to talk about the new car. And the show's daddy, Brad Boyer, is here.
Good morning. I have one thing to say as the resident Yankee fan. Derek Jeter. I'm very sad. I'm very sad.
Is that still a car show?
Yeah, no. Derek Jeter has some great cars, by the way.
So are you the only Yankee fan in Portland?
Hardly. All my children are. My dad took me to my first Yankee game back in '61.
So there's 6 fans, or 8. How many kids do you have now? 15?
15, I think.
You think?
So I'm very jealous of you guys. You went on this Kia event and didn't take me for the minivan portion of it.
So was that your 21st birthday?
Yes, back in '61.
Your first Yankee game?
Yeah, I got in on senior citizen rates.
Hilarious. All right, this is the part of the show when we recap the best news stories of the week. How much do you know about what happened in the world's automotive this week? Well, we're going to help you refresh and remind everybody out there what happened as far as cars were concerned. The part of the show when we test the studio crew on their knowledge of those automotive news events with our news quiz. So first question up this morning, and have your buzzers ready, gentlemen, is what iconic muscle car has a sound generator to enhance the sound of the engine? Who is that, Oli?
That's me.
Is that a different sound than you had last week?
It was on accident.
All right. So what's the answer?
The Ford Mustang's going to have a sound enhancer coming in the new EcoBoost. They're obviously not the first one to have it, but it's going to be something new for the Mustang.
I think because the EcoBoost is that 4-cylinder engine with a turbo, it doesn't make the growly sound
right.
that Ford are used to with the Mustang. So they've got to enhance it somehow, make you feel better about your purchase.
Yeah, and well, I mean, one thing, you can't change the stereo. If you if you do, it will sound different because it's all through the audio module. And it's funny because I think the sound of a turbocharged engine sounds great. They should enhance maybe the intake system so that you hear the spooling of the turbo.
This is coming from a Volvo guy.
Yeah.
Everything turbo.
Yeah, everything turbo.
So every time you put your foot down, you'll hear the sucking of the air. And
Can I get it from my ringtone, though? That'd be great.
I think so.
I think that there's 2 things that have to happen with these cars. First of all, we should talk to Peter definitely from Mobile West about this next time we have him in. But they should have it on your phone now. So when you actually drive, when you're in the car driving, your phone enhances the sound because it'll sound better, right? Because everything else goes through your phone when you're in the car, so why not the engine sound as well? All right, next question. Who's going to reveal a plug-in SUV at this year's Paris Motor Show in the coming week? Oh, it must be Brad.
That is going to be Porsche, the 2-syllable word Porsche.
Yes.
And they're going to be bringing out the Cayenne with that. And now they already have the Panamera, but this is going to have 416 horsepower, so it's going to be an impressive vehicle. And
that's a plug-in hybrid. By the way, Porsche told me how to pronounce their name, and they wanted to make this quite clear to everybody that a Porsche is something you sit on and watch the sunset. A Porsche is something you drive. Just in case there was any question whatsoever. Well done, Brad. Next question. What brand other than GM is recalling 349,442 cars for an ignition fix? Oh,
I
Brad
get that
again.
one too. So I think we really should do a total recall kind of segment, just that. Get Arnold
or a movie, yes.
Yeah, Arnold just go, they will be back. So this is Chrysler. They're recalling these vehicles. And it's a similar thing to GM, but what they did is they acted quickly. There's only been one accident, no reported injuries. But this is for predominantly the 2008. There's the 300, the Charger, the Magnum, Jeep Commander, and the Grand Cherokee. But the ignition key can get stuck, which could cause the airbag not to work or you lose power on the vehicle.
You know, it's starting to sound an awful like they want people to come into the dealership, so while they're waiting for the fix, they could sell them a car.
Yeah.
The airbag does work on that. The only functions are the windshield wipers don't work.
Oh,
It was saying the windshield wipers and possibly your windows won't wipe down, but the airbags do still work when that recall.
Yeah, it sounds something like
There's
we'd
an
like you to-
ongoing ignition switch issue for people that actually still have regular keys, apparently.
Yeah, and I read it because on one of my Chevys, I have a recall, and it says that, and the reason is because people are overloading their keys with other keys, which they taught us, back in high school not to do that. And I mean, I just have my actual car key, and I always have my house keys on a different set of rings.
You know what's hilarious about that statement? That's the one thing you remember from high school?
I remember a couple other things.
Who is they?
I remember how to beer bong.
Who is they?
All right, next question this morning is, who's boosting production to keep up with customer demand?
That is, well, Nissan's forecast to make a push.
No, I think you're skipping ahead one.
Oh.
I missed a question too.
Yep, you messed up, man. That'd be me.
I messed up.
Now that is quality radio.
That is. So that would be Ram with the 1500. They're going to make over about 28,000 more Ram 1500s because the supply for them's been up. And I think a lot of that's from us and our EcoDiesel because we talk so much about it.
Absolutely. All right, next question. What brand is forecasting to surpass Hyundai and Kia in sales for September?
Ding! I'm going to go back to
the
the
manual
voice
ding.
buzzer. Let's get back to the basics. Nissan's projected to make a push here to pass them. A lot of it has to do with their incentive programs, where a lot of people are scaling back. They're kind of pushing forward, double-digit percentiles as far as their incentives.
And their sales, I will tell you, they're making some very smart cars. All right, let's rush through a couple more questions quick. What plug-in car will not be made in 2015 but will return in 2000? Sean?
That'd be Cadillac ELR. It just came out in 2014, but they're not going to make them in 2015 and come out in 2016 with kind of a whole redesign.
Absolutely.
And better car.
Final question this morning. Who added 1,200 new workers at the Missouri plant? Brad.
Ford did that, and it's an interesting vehicle. It's the Transit van, which has been a little soft in sales. They've only had, through June, like 2,100 vehicles, but a cable company, Charter Communications, just ordered 800 more of those, so they expect the demand to keep going up on that vehicle.
Absolutely, and it's a fun vehicle. I've test drove it as well. All right, you're listening to FM News 101 KXL. Got a lot more coming up. We're going to be talking about a brand new Mercedes-Benz GLA that hits the market very soon and just came back from Burlington, Vermont on the test drive. We'll get someone from Mercedes on the phone. Also, someone from Kia on the phone to talk about their new Soul electric vehicle, which hits Oregon in 2015. That and what we've been driving and a whole lot more coming your way on this morning's Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
You're listening to Test Miles and find out more at TestMiles.com. Recent podcasts are available at TestMiles.com. Just click on the upper right-hand corner on the button that says Radio Podcast. Here's a fun fact for you to impress your friends with. In 1902, the first speeding ticket was issued at the time when most cars could not go faster than 45 miles an hour. Brad, do you remember that?
I think I only remember paying 15 cents, though, for the ticket.
There you go. All right, Mercedes-Benz are considered to be one of the oldest car makers in the world. They're considered to be the pinnacle of automotive luxury, efficiency, and driving experience. But Mercedes noticed that their customers were getting older. So a year ago, they introduced a new car for the younger generation, the XY generation. Now, that small luxury vehicle with all the DNA of a Mercedes was called the CLA, or is called the CLA. The car was defined as a home run for the company. Mercedes-Benz are now claiming the highest first 8 months of sales on record, up 8%. The CLA has sold an astonishing 30,000 units in the first year, and half of those have been purchased by that XY generation. 3 out of 4 CLA buyers are coming to Mercedes-Benz from outside the brand. So Mercedes have introduced a sister car for the CLA. It's a small luxury SUV called the GLA. And joining us on the phone is Anna Kleinbrill. Anna is the Mercedes-Benz GLA Assistant Product Manager. Anna, good morning. Now, the price of this CLA is pretty right for the new buyer, isn't it?
Hi, good morning. Yes, it's very exciting for Mercedes-Benz to be finally present in the compact SUV segment because, as you know, it's fast-growing right now, and we're actually very happy because we're bringing the GLA 250 Formatic out right now. It's actually launched just a couple days ago, and it starts at $33,300, and we're also launching the GLA 45 AMG right now, and then early next year we're actually bringing out the two-wheel drive variant, which is actually our very first front-wheel drive SUV, and that'll have a $31,300 base MSRP.
Now, you guys have done really well, and I was very impressed by driving this car, but I was interested in a couple of facts that Mercedes-Benz sell quite a lot of SUVs. What's the percentage of SUVs that you sell versus cars?
I believe right now it's actually around like 40%.
And that's quite a lot. That's quite high for people. I know that you're looking to the future to sell more SUVs. Is that why you introduced the GLA?
Yes, I mean that's one of the reasons. Obviously, right now we're actually the luxury manufacturer with the most SUVs in their lineup. We have 5 of them. So the GLA is the 5th SUV in our lineup, which is really, really exciting for us. So Mercedes-Benz, we really consider ourselves as the SUV experts in that sense.
And I will tell you that it was a fun drive, although I would have a hard time settling for the regular GLA, the 250. After you've driven the AMG version, the AMG 45, it's pretty hard to step back into something that it has that beautiful sound when you let your foot off the accelerator. You hear that sound from the exhaust, and I actually fell in love with that. All right, what's the big differences in stats between the 250 and the AMG 45?
So the 250 is really the perfect everyday car. The 45 AMG is the crazy performance variant of that. The biggest difference, of course, is horsepower. The 250 has 208 horsepower. The 45 AMG has 355. So that'll get you from 0 to 60 in about 4.8 seconds. And you should probably put some money aside just in case of, a couple speeding tickets, because that thing is a beast.
Tell me a little bit about the starting price of the 45, the AMG version of the GLA.
Yeah, the 45 AMG starts at $48,300, which is really a very impressive price considering you get a hand-built AMG engine. So all AMG engines have the one-man, one-engine principle. So the person that builds your engine takes care of it from A to Z, never leaves the engine out of sight, and actually signs on the engine itself once the job is done.
Right, so the signature of every engineer on the engine. I love that one-man, one-engine idea because if you know what's wrong, you know exactly who to call at the factory. But there'll never be
There's no hiding.
there'll be never. Of course, it's a Mercedes. There will never be anything wrong. All right, so tell me a little bit about the off-road capability, because we here at TestMiles of the team have always looked at stats of those people that buy SUVs but never take them on anything less than a blacktop road. Nobody seems to take their SUVs off-road at all. How is the GLA going to handle if you take it into some off-road conditions?
So actually the GLA has gone through the same off-road testing as the GLK, which is, the size up in terms of our SUV lineup. And it has done tremendous testing off-road, all the different courses in different countries, in deserts and things like that. So it's gotten hundreds and thousands of miles of off-road testing, and it handles actually really, really well. And every GLA 250 Formatic, which is the variant that we're just launching this week, actually comes with an off-road package standard. So that means you get downhill speed regulation standard, you have an off-road button that primes, the transmission shift points and a couple of other things for optimal off-road handling. You have an off-road display that shows you the gradient of incline and a couple of other things. So it's very, very capable off-road, but at the same time, as you mentioned, probably 99% of our customers would never actually think of taking it off-road. But just knowing in the back of their heads that in case they do need to or want to do that, the GLA is very capable indeed.
I think the fact that you gave it the 4MATIC system as well, the all-wheel drive system from Mercedes, speaks volumes to that vehicle, because you're really showing that you're coming out with the first vehicle, which is the capable vehicle off-road. Now, Mercedes-Benz, well known for safety and a lot of their new safety features. How well equipped is the GLA with some new safety features?
So one of the biggest points is probably the Collision Prevention Assist Plus. The Collision Prevention Assist Plus warns you in case you get too close to the car in front of you and there might be an impact imminent. And it first gives you an audible and a visible alert. If you don't react to that, it actually can apply up to 60% of braking power autonomously, which in most situations should be enough to come to a full stop before anything happens. At least it would really reduce the severity of an impact. So that's actually a segment exclusive for us that we're really proud of and that we're making standard on every single GLA. And then we also have 8 airbag standard, including passenger and driver knee bags. We have attention assist, which is the drowsiness alert. Of course, ESP, ABS, all that good stuff that you would expect from every Mercedes-Benz comes standard with the GLA.
Now, will the vehicle do the full brake if you have if an impact is imminent? Will it come to a full stop, or it just applies some braking?
It applies up to 60% of braking power, which in a lot of situations is enough to come to a full stop. So if you're, for example, driving inside of a town, if you're not going super fast, that should definitely be enough to come to a full stop. If you're going really, really fast on a highway, it might not be enough power to come to a full stop, but then at the same time, you should ideally be able to react because you feel and sense that the car is reacting. So in most situations, our customers would brake themselves, and the brakes are actually getting primed automatically. So even if you yourself as the driver don't apply enough braking power, the car would take care of that and add that extra oomph that you really need to come to a stop.
So at low speeds, does it have to be a big solid object that it will avoid, or will a human being suffice? If somebody walks in front of the car at low speeds, would the car come to a complete stop?
Yes, actually humans and even non-moving obstacles, so it doesn't have to be a moving car or, someone walking in front of the car. It can also be, let's say a wall or a tree or something like that. It recognizes that as well.
Now, have you tested this on a real human being?
No. We are, for legal reasons, not allowed to do that, but we have done extensive testing with other materials, so to speak, and blown up cars and things like that.
Because we can volunteer Sean.
Yeah, we have a reputation. We did it with the E-Class. We tested it on Sean, so we have a reputation for doing it. So although we didn't test it...
I mean, if you're willing to sign the longest waiver known to mankind, then sure, we can make that happen.
Or we could just not tell you until it was done.
Oh boy, yeah, please. I don't even want to know.
No, we did it with the E-Class, and I think, did you get hit, Sean? No, he survived. Anna, thank you so much for joining us here this morning on Test Miles. Great to find out about the GLA. It was also great to be in Vermont with you, test driving the vehicle. Very impressed by that. When Test Miles returns, we are going to check out the brand new Kia Soul EV, and we'll find out what's driving. And there's a couple more surprises in the show for you. You're listening to FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Sunday morning on FM News 101 KXL. This is Test Miles, Portland's automotive radio show at testmiles.com. Try following us on Facebook. Here's a fun fact to impress your friends with. The original dashboard was a piece of wood attached to the front of a horse-drawn cart that would stop the mud from splashing up into the driver's face when the horse would break into a gallop or a dash. Hence the dashboard. Now we all get it, right?
Because gallop board just sounds too long.
It sounds too wrong, too. I spent the second half of this week the second half of last week in Southern California checking out 2 new very impressive vehicles from Kia. They have been in the USA for 20 years. They first arrived in 1994. They've sold 5 million vehicles, 20 million of which, 5 million vehicles, 80 million. let me start that again, 5 million vehicles, of which 80% are still on the road. And many of us still underrate the brand of Kia, but J.D. Power and Associate rated them above Ford, Mazda, and Honda. The Kia Optima and Kia Soul have been winning awards, not just from the press, but also from customers. Kia have sold more vehicles than Lexus, Mazda, Mercedes, VW, Chrysler, Acura, Cadillac, BMW, and many more. One Kia is sold every minute of the day. And Kelley Blue Book's Best Value Award is one award they walked away with recently. So when Kia have a brand new vehicle to talk about, it is very important. Now, coming to Oregon in 2015 is the new Kia Soul EV. And joining us on the phone with the inside scoop on the 2015 Kia Soul EV is EV expert Steve Kowalski. Steve from Kia, how are you this morning?
I'm very good, Nick. Thanks for the chance to talk about the Soul EV.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this the Soul itself has been around for a while, right?
That's right. It's actually been around since about 2009, 2010 model year specifically, but it's been around for about 5 years now.
Now, there's the EV segment getting very busy. Kia, just another vehicle in that segment, or does it stand out?
Yes, the Soul EV stands out in many, many ways. It stands out because of its 93 miles of range. Of course, it's really cool design, and another thing is the package or the utility and the flexibility because of the interior space. It's unique in that you can fit lots of people and stuff inside the car because the battery fits underneath the floor. It doesn't intrude into the cabin, so it's really unique.
So how are EV sales in the U.S.? Are they growing? Are we stagnant? Is there some market share that Kia is going to be able to take?
Yeah, EV sales are actually up almost 30% in 2014, and they're on track to reach about 60,000 units in 2014. So they're growing. The appeal is growing for the car, and we anticipate EV sales will continue to grow into the future as more and more models reach the market and as people truly discover the strengths and advantages of the car. We would like a certain share of the market, and we will certainly take it in California and Oregon and East Coast markets as well.
Tell me a little bit about the price, because that's the crushing point, obviously. These cars are not cheap to make. A lot of car companies losing money on making EV vehicles. So what price have you guys come up with to place this car in the Oregon market?
We have a great price position. It's $33,700 for the Soul EV, and then for $2,000 more, you can get the Soul EV Plus, and that's $35,700. And now we come to market also with a great lease price at $249 a month. So it's a very attractive deal.
And then on top of that, you would have your federal, which is currently a $7,500 tax credit, and then any local tax credits that you could get, right?
That's right. And, yeah, so the federal tax credit helps reduce the acquisition cost of the car. And locally, like, for example, in California, there's a $2,500 rebate, so that's very, very helpful. And in various other states, there's tax credits. I think in Oregon, it's I want to say it's a $400 tax credit.
I think it's $750 or $800.
Okay, I stand corrected. But all in, it's very, very helpful in the acquisition of the car.
So, and we could also probably add in some locals, and your company may have them. I'm sure that some of the big companies will have tax credits for this. So we're looking at probably somewhere just between $7,500 and $10,000 tax credit. Now, one of the things that EVs are becoming known for is the amazing amount of tech that you can add into them. What's this Kia Soul EV come with?
It's got a lot of technology. The first thing is we have a heat pump-based air conditioning system, which helps extend range and helps reduce energy usage. The car also comes with our UVO EV services, which is built upon our award-winning UVO connectivity platform. And this gets you access to charging data, charger data, energy data on the car, and a variety of other technical aspects. There's also a lot of other technology in the car, including, for example, super low rolling resistance tires, which help extend the range of the car by reducing rolling resistance. There's a lot of other HVAC technology, like something we have air induction control, which essentially reduces the energy draw, again, from the HVAC system. And other bits and pieces within the structure of the car, like high-strength steel and ultra-high-strength steel, to make the car safer and a little bit more rigid.
Now, you guys, Steve, you guys have come up with some regenerative braking that says it's pretty unbeatable. I mean, looking at your facts and your information versus the competition, I don't think anybody has quite managed to come up with such a hot property as your regenerative braking, right?
Thanks. Yes, we're very proud of that. And the regen braking in the cars are third-generation system. And what it does is it recuperates energy, kinetic energy. As you're driving the car, for example, if you're coasting or going down a hill, you want to feed energy back into our state-of-the-art lithium-ion polymer battery. And so in order to do that, we created a system that basically reverses the polarity of the motor and turns it into a generator when you're decelerating. So, again, helping to recover energy and put that energy back into the battery. As soon as you lift your foot off the gas pedal, you can start recuperating that energy. And the cool thing is, Nick, you can put it in B mode on the shifter, and you can keep it in B mode, which is brake mode, which is more aggressive regenerative braking. And you can drive more efficiently. We call it one-pedal driving, actually, with your foot on the gas pedal, and you essentially just lift and use the regen braking to recover that energy.
Now, a final question for you, Steve. Your charge times, you've actually got the charge time with the large electrical power down pretty short, haven't you, to get it to 80%?
Yeah, we're very, very proud of it. The car comes with standard DC charging. That's quick charging or fast charging, we like to call it, and it takes about 33 minutes to go from empty to 80% on a DC charge. That's pretty impressive. And we have DC chargers going into all of the dealers that will sell the Soul EV. And there's more and more DC chargers being built almost every week now in markets in Oregon and California and other key markets across the United States. So we're very, very proud of that as well.
Finally, when can we see it in dealerships in Oregon?
We're still working on that, Nick, and I wish I could give you a specific date. We're targeting 2015. We'd like to get the car out there in the first half of the year. That would be just great if we could.
All right, well, I'll be calling you New Year's Day to find out when mine's coming. Thanks very much, my friend, for joining us. Thanks for the invitation, by the way, to Dana Point in California. Had a great time driving the car. Very impressed by it, by the way, and it comes in this really nice, cool Caribbean blue color. Listen to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL. Still to come, we got a list of cars that we've been driving this week. Plus, Oli's going to have his deal of the week. He's going to tell us what car is on a lot that you could go and buy this week. That's an incredible deal. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Sunday morning on FM News 101 KXL. This is Test Miles, Portland's automotive radio show at TestMiles.com. Try following us on Twitter at TestMiles is what you should type into your Twitterage. Here is a fun fact for you to impress your friends with. Ferrari produces a maximum of 14 cars a day, as opposed to the world's largest auto manufacturer, Toyota, which makes 13,000 cars a day. All right, what have we been driving this week? Oh, before I do that, I should say thanks very much. We had a new intern start today, Zhenya, and he did all our car research. So thank you, Zhenya, for that. Whoop! All right, vehicles we've been driving. I have had the Jaguar XJL, which is the long version. 5 seats, rear-wheel drive flagship from Jaguar. It has a nice interior. It's a very strong V8 engine. It's fairly nimble to handle, but I will tell you that I'm starting to like more powerful engines in lighter cars, so it's a fairly heavy vehicle. The bad is the back seats in this vehicle are a little bit heavy, and the touchscreen interface, although it was very advanced when they brought out Flash for the first time, it's now kind of heavier. It doesn't respond as well as it did, and I think this was a great car maybe 2 years ago. Not as impressed with it as I was originally. Sean, you were going to say something.
So basically the car's heavy. Because everything you've said so far, the car's heavier or heavier.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a heavy car.
Yeah, absolutely. And I promise you, I will critique the hell out of you when you get on here to talk about your
I know
cars.
you will. That's why I have to give it to you when I can.
3-liter V6 and supercharged V8 with a V8 5-liter in it. 340 horsepower for the V6, 550 for the V8, which is absolutely necessary, I will tell you. 8-speed automatic transmission, rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive is a must for anyone that lives above the Mason-Dixon line. What does it compete against? It competes against the BMW 7 Series, the S-Class, the A8, maybe the A7, the Lexus LS, and also the Infiniti Q80, 70 and 80. I think the 80 is going to be announced at Paris this week. 21 miles a gallon for the V6, 18 highway 27 for 18 city 27 for the highway and the rear-wheel drive, and 19 miles an hour, 19 miles a gallon combined for the V8, which has 16 and 24. I think the gas mileage is actually pretty excellent for this vehicle, even though it feels like a heavier vehicle. Lots of tech on the inside, including a very big 8-inch screen and the Meridian sound system, unbelievable. I would say, apart from it being very heavy, the vehicle is a good full-size luxury vehicle. $75,125 and 9 out of 10. Also looking at the Honda Accord Hybrid, this vehicle I felt was a little underpowered, although it gets great fuel economy. I think Honda are revising the 50 miles a gallon that they originally had said for the plug-in. I'm not sure if this is being revised, but we'll get 50, 45, depending on how you drive it. Up against the Camry, the Fusion Hybrid, the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid, and the Kia Optima Hybrid. And this vehicle also has lots of tech in it, although it did have a couple troubles with the satellite radio system. It did go haywire on me yesterday. Maybe because I've been driving a lot of higher-powered vehicles, did feel this was a little underpowered. Starts at $32,695, 8 out of 10 for the Honda Accord Hybrid. Sean?
I've been driving the Scion FRS, and it's a four-seater rear-wheel drive sports coupe. It has the 2-liter Subaru 4-cylinder boxer engine. It's a nice car. I love the styling on it. It's very sexy, very compact, although it's a little tight, and I do wish that the engine in it had a little more sound to it because it's very quiet. So I wish they'd take some of the Ford technology and enhance the sound of it. Other than that, it's a great car. 22 miles, or average 25 miles to the gallon. I've been getting 27. Its competitors are the Honda Civic and Volkswagen GTI, although I don't see how they're real competitors because those are front-wheel drive and this is a rear-wheel drive car. Starting price is $24,700. Mine was $25,455. I give it an 8.5. I like I said, love the car, and actually driving it, I think it's great. It handles really nicely, although I do wish they'd put the WRX engine in it and give it a little boost in power. But it still has great power to weight ratio in it.
And then I think at that point it would be closer up to 30-something thousand.
I would pay it for this car. I like it. It's just the only thing I don't like about the car is the sound. The more that I've been spending time in it, it's an awesome vehicle. It's fun to drive.
Now, what about
it's
the power,
actually
the power and the torque on the low end? Because that was always the issue when we first tested
no,
it.
they've beefed up the torque a little bit, and it actually is moving. Because I remember when we first drove it in Vegas, we were having that little issue. But it's actually fun. I'm enjoying it. Like, I wouldn't buy it when we first drove it, but now I'm actually considering it.
Excellent. Brad?
Well, I went the opposite end of the spectrum. I have one of the largest vehicles I've ever driven. It's the new Lexus LX 570, excuse me. It's almost 200 inches long. Now, Lexus advertises this as brute luxury. They built it on a truck-based design, so it's got great off-road capabilities, but it's not really a vehicle. We had this discussion earlier that I'd see anybody taking it off-road. So it's big. The leather seats are spectacularly comfortable. And they do have a nice chill box for your, I guess, sodas, because you can't have your wine in there or anything.
Or water. A lot of people in America drink water. Brad.
Do they?
Sure.
Okay. But the downside is, for a car company, Toyota in a whole, that's maybe the greenest company in the world, this is probably the least green vehicle there is. 12 miles to the gallon on the low end, averages at about 15. And it's big carbon footprint. But it's a big 5.7 V8, and it's got a great sound system, which I really enjoyed, the Mark Levinson sound system, and then the Inform app system. Everything on that worked beautifully. It's got kind of a fun...
Because I think the weakness of Lexus is the Inform system.
This one we finally got, short of our DVD system. I was able to work the app system beautifully, so we had a lot of capability with that.
Excellent.
But starting price is $82,900. and a top-end price is tested as 90. A lot of that money comes from the off-road systems, so
But it's a heavy truck.
it's a heavy, big
Yeah.
truck.
I found the same thing when I drove it, although luxury is kind of fun. And I like the third row, although we disagreed on that. I think the third row is fun.
Yes, it's got the automatic seat. You can push the button, so my kids enjoyed that, and they sat in the back and watched their movies. So it's a
Good
perfect
stuff.
family vehicle for sure.
Ole, car of the week. What do you got a deal going for us this week?
I do. I talked to the guys over at DNC Motors, actually, and they provided a car that they just dropped $6,000 on. It is a 2010 Audi R8 5.2 Quattro that comes in at $109,000. 6-speed manual, 13,000 miles.
Wait, what's the percentage on dropping it $6,000? That's like 3-4%.
Well, I mean, I looked over the market for this car, and if you look up Kelley Blue Book, it says like retail in the car is $160,000. So compared to that, there's some other ones out there in the same ballpark. I think you're just picking this is a local car.
Where are they? Where are DC Motors?
They're over on Southeast Holgate. You can see them at dcmotorswithaz.com. You can see it there as well as many other things.
All right, guys. Thanks very much for the show this morning. Thanks to Jenya. TestMiles at testmiles.com. We'll be back next week with more good stuff. Don't forget to listen and download the podcast. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with TestMiles.com.